in relation to streaming on YouTube, so also setting up the YouTube dashboard and everything like that so that we can get some awesome streams out there to our viewers. If you guys do enjoy the video, be sure to smash the like button down below and also leave a comment, because I love to have a good conversation with you guys and answer any questions you have in the future. So we're going to start with a quick setup of OBS. If you guys haven't used OBS before, then it is the basically be-all and end-all streaming application that you use to get your content from your PC to whatever platform you're streaming to, whether that be YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or any other platforms that are kind of coming out of the blue. As of the time of releasing this video, we need the release candidate version of OBS. So you can just type in OBS release candidate on Google. You'll eventually get to this GitHub page where you can scroll down here and you can download the installer. The reason we need the release candidate, at least at the moment, is that this beta version, that's essentially what release candidate means, includes YouTube integration. As you can see here, YouTube integration was added and it's made the whole YouTube streaming experience way better. Way better. And I'm going to show you that when we jump into the application. So get that downloaded and boot it up, and then we'll be ready to play around with it. When you first boot up the application, you'll be greeted with something similar to this. You won't have this chat showing on the right. You'll probably have a couple of these things not showing, but don't worry too much about them. What you want to do is you want to go to settings, and then you'll have this open page here. The general tab doesn't really contain anything YouTube specific, so instead come to the stream area, and this is where the fun starts. So service, you need to make sure you've got YouTube RTMPS selected. This means that we are going to stream to YouTube. Makes sense. We're not doing a tutorial for Twitch, we're not doing a tutorial for Facebook, we are streaming specifically to YouTube, so have that selected. Next, the server, you should be able to be fine just using the primary YouTube ingest server. This bit is why currently you need the release candidate. Now, you might not need the release candidate in the future when the actual official update comes out, but right now you need it so that you can get the YouTube integration, where you can connect your YouTube account to the application. This is how you've been able to do it for Twitch for a long time, rather than using a stream key, which was essentially a long list of numbers and letters all jumbled together that would tell the application where it is you're trying to stream to. So that, because of course we're sending the stream out there, it needs to know where it's going to. Now we can connect the account and we can do a lot of controlling what we can set up from the application. However, I've got a different way of doing that. That'll all make sense in just a minute. Anyway, after you've clicked the connect button and you've gone through the process, which comes up on a web page to just connect your account and such, OBS will be allowed to stream it to your YouTube channel. As you can see here, for me, it has my 4eyes account listed here. Good. Next, make sure you've got this ignore streaming service setting recommendations. This might seem like a weird thing to do. Like, why am I taking this? Essentially, YouTube doesn't really have maximum video audio bit rates. It doesn't really care. I'm going to come back to this a little bit when we talk about the bitrate and resolution later, because it's a very important topic, especially for YouTube and getting the best quality. For Twitch has a hard cap, like max of both, and if you go above it, it's like, no, you can't do that. But I would recommend just ticking this anyway, so that you don't end up having any warnings or weird things happening from OBS. Just allow OBS to just be free to do what it wants, and tick this, and you'll have a much easier time moving forward. Next, we're going to cover the output settings. So very quickly, make sure you set output mode to advanced. For encoder, if you've got an NVIDIA GPU, choose the NVENC encoder. It's far less stressful on your system. I've covered this encoder in many other OBS tutorials. If you don't have an NVIDIA card, then you can select X264, and most of these settings below will be pretty similar, so try and follow along. But for those of you who have NVIDIA cards, which I know most of you guys streaming games will likely have, then we can jump straight into this. So rescale output, do not have this ticked. The audio track up here, just have this set to 1. That'll be the default one, and then anytime you add a new audio source later on, it'll all go onto track 1 anyway by default, so we don't need to worry about that. Rate control, put that to CBR. That's constant bitrate, aka we're sending out a constant bitrate rather than it varying depending on what's actually on the screen. Bitrate, I've got it set to 20,000. I'm going to come back to that and explain that very soon. Keyframe interval set to 2, preset to quality rather than max quality. Simply the reason for this is max quality really doesn't increase the quality much at all on the output, especially when you're watching it on YouTube, whereas it does increase the load on your system by quite a significant amount, so I'd recommend just leaving it on quality, unless you've got maybe a second PC that you're streaming from, in which case, go for max quality, you know, Bob's your uncle. Profile, set this to high, look ahead off, psycho-visual tuning ticked, GPU 0, and max B-frames 2. These settings are just all things that YouTube likes. It likes your profile set to high. This is basically anything HD should have a high profile rather than main or baseline. B-frames at 2 is good for just general streaming as well. We're not going to cover recording here, but we'll jump to audio, and I would just say max all your tracks out at 320. There's one here which I don't have set at 320, but I'll set it now. 320 is the highest audio bitrate that you can set in OBS. YouTube supports it, and it's a very, very small amount of bitrate we're adding to our upstream. So you should just set this at max so you get the best quality audio you can get. I'm not going to go too in-depth into the audio here, but in the audio you can set up all of your devices. I've got 4 devices listed here, which sounds like a lot. For most of you guys out there, you'll probably have a system audio, so like your PC. You might have your PC audio and your like chat audio split into 2 different devices, and then you'll have your mic as well, and then you can control the levels of that. But as I said, this isn't an in-depth OBS tutorial, so I'm not going to cover this too much here, just to show you this is how I've got mine set up at the moment. And then lastly, the video tab. Now, I'm not going to jump into this right now, because instead I'm going to explain why I have this output scaled resolution set to 1440p or 2560 by 1440. Now, the reason for this is due to how YouTube encodes your stream in comparison to how Twitch views your stream. When you stream to Twitch will show an exact source quality version of what you're sending to it. So if you send it a nice 8K bitrate, 1080p stream, then your viewers will see that exact thing in the exact same quality you send it, which is great, and it gets really, really good quality. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Twitch has a bitrate cap on it, and that bitrate cap is 8,000. A lot of people think it's 6,000. It's actually 8,000, so little tip there if you are streaming on Twitch still. But for YouTube actually doesn't have a bitrate cap, and instead you can just stream to YouTube at whatever bitrate you want within range of your upload speed. So go to speedtest.net, run a speed test, and see what you get as your upload bandwidth. As you can see here, I have a 37 upload at the moment. So this is 37 megabits per second. OBS uses kilobits per second, so I can transfer this into kilobits by timesing this by 1,000, so that's 37,000 megabits per second. I would then say you want to leave a bit of headroom. I usually say about 20%. That might be actually too much, but you want to leave 20% on the end that you don't kind of delve into. So if we get a simple calculator up, we can do 37 times 0.8 to get 80%, and you can see that I can probably stream up to 29, well, we can times this by 1,000 as well, 29,000 or so bit rate. Now, the reason I don't go up to 29,000 is because my partner also streams in the same house, and she streams on Twitch at about, as I said, 8,000. So I want to take 8,000 off because I don't want to delve into her bandwidth. And that leaves me with 21,000. I've rounded it to just 20,000. That's why I said it there earlier. And hopefully that all makes sense. 20,000 is by far a good enough bitrate. So the next question is, why 1440p? I actually only have a 1080p monitor, hence why the base canvas resolution here is set to 1080p. But I'm streaming at 1440p, and people will say, why? What's the point? You're upscaling, you're going to be losing quality. Well, this comes down to how YouTube re-encodes your image. On the screen now, you'll see one of my previous live streams I did, just trying out Tarkov, as you can see here, learning Tarkov, come give me some tips. And I was streaming at, if you come down here to the quality, 1080p quality, because the highest quality you could select was 1080p 60. And what the issue that I got from this was, especially if I skip into some of these bits, you can just see how blurry the image looks. It's really muddy, really not very nice to look at. And this is because of the encoder being used. If I pause this for a second, go to Stats for Nerds, and you look in the top left here, you can see codecs, and it says AVC1. This is one of the codecs which YouTube can give your video or live stream. It works the same way for both. And AVC1 is essentially a very bad encoder. When you send something to YouTube, it re-encodes it, jumbles it up a bit, and then sends it out to your viewers, rather than what Twitch does, where it's at a at a level that you send it, a source quality. This has been re-encoded, and the image we're getting out is, as you can see, very blurry and horrible. Now let's compare this to Dr. Lupo's stream. This is actually live right now, and he's playing Tarkov as well, the exact same game. But you can see here, if we compare, it's not got that graininess, it's not got that blurriness, and that is because if we once again to go to the stats for nerds, this is VP09 codec. VP09 is the gold standard, and it's what we want to get on our live streams. How does YouTube just select who gets what though? Typically, if you're a big channel or you have a big video that you upload that does really, really well at kind of whatever resolution or bitrate you upload it at, you will end up getting the VP9 codec. Dr. Lupo is obviously one of the biggest streamers on the platform right now, so he has the VP9 codec. But me, streaming, and I've not got as many viewers on this stream specifically, it's an AVC1, which looks kind of bad. So how can I force it to go VP9? Well, this is what Reddit and the glorious viewers on the internet figured out. And that is that if you select 1440p as your output scaled resolution, and you have at least a bitrate of I believe it's 10,500 kilobits per second. So in the output streaming area, you would need this to be at least 10,500. Then when you put the video out there, or when you stream to YouTube, you will get VP9 quality, which means you have way better quality than most of the people out there streaming at 1080p. The last couple of things here, Downscale Filter, put this to bicubic. It says that it's going to be less sharpened than Lanczos, but it is way better. It has been in OBS for ages. And FPS, I would set it to 60 for most people streaming games, but some people, if you have less bandwidth or less bitrate to play with, you can put this down to 30 and you'll just have a 30 FPS stream. So now with that all applied, the last thing we need to do after, setting up a scene, so I've got a scene here, which is my whole screen, hence why you can see this kind of paradox effect happening. You literally come down to here and you select start streaming. Now this won't instantly start streaming to your channel, so I can click it right now and you won't have a random live stream appearing. If I click this, you end up getting two options here. You have create new event and select existing event. Create new event is really, really cool. It means you can set your title, you can set your description and everything, the privacy of your stream, what category it's in, and loads of stuff, which I really, really like. But currently, it is missing some of the options. You can't set your thumbnail here. You can't get like a big box to view your description in the formatting you want it to seem on YouTube. You can't set your stream to be unlisted for later. You can't select the game that's being selected. So there's still a lot of stuff missing, but if you wanted to get just a real quick stream going up and you didn't even want to look at the YouTube dashboard, you could just do it from here. You could put the stuff in and then click create event and go live. However, we're going to do it a bit differently. So what I'm going to do is cancel out of here and we're going to head over to the YouTube live dashboard. So I'm on YouTube now on my 4eyes channel logged in. You're going to click create up here and then click go live. After a couple of seconds, you might get a thing pop up saying whether you want to stream using streaming software or just using a webcam. Make sure you select streaming software because we're going to be using OBS. And then you want to make sure you're in the stream area. You can go to the manage area and you can schedule streams in the future. But it's not something I do. Typically, I'll just be playing and then I might go, okay, I'm going to start streaming for a bit now. And so I will use the stream area. Let's start with the edit area. So if we click edit up here, this is where we can set all the details for our stream. So this was actually the settings I had set up for that Tarkov stream I was showing you just a little bit earlier. So it's saved the settings from them, which is really cool, which means that I can kind of keep the formatting. So if I was doing a Warzone stream, I could just say like live, let's just say I'm cracked at Warzone. It's a bit cringe, but I'm cracked at Warzone. I would probably come up with a better title than that looks a bit better. And then I could write something down in the description. I could say, let's just do the same thing. I'm cracked at Warzone. Give the stream a like, kind of thing. Visibility, almost always you're going to want it to be public. If you don't have this set to public, then your stream can't be seen by people. So you definitely want it to be public when your stream goes live. Category, gaming, and then game title. So this would be Warzone. Call of Duty Warzone. My thumbnail, I've just got a default thumbnail, but you can make thumbnails for your stream, which is really awesome. Make your stream stand out. Playlist, I would recommend that you make a live streams playlist. So I've got a 4 Eyes live streams playlist right here that I can select to put this in. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want it to accidentally add in if I accidentally start streaming, but you can put it in there, and I'm going to explain why in just a second. You can select what the audience is, specifically if it's made for kids or not. For most of you, it's not going to be made for kids because a lot of us gamers like to curse a lot. We've got tags, we've got chapters, automatic chapters, which I don't even think works for streams anyway. You can include paid promotion if you are doing an ad. Customization. You want live chat and live chat replay both enabled so that anyone who comes in your chat can see what the chat's been doing and go and have a look and get involved in the conversation. Participant modes, you can set it so it's either anyone or subscriber only, depending on the size of your channel. For most small streamers, you're going to want this set to anyone. Message delay, you can have a slow mode, which means that people can't spam as much because there's basically a length of time that participants have to wait between sending messages. Once again, not really something that you need to do unless you're a large streamer. And then the redirect, which can basically mean that when your live stream ends, it can send someone to a video or something, which is quite cool. I could add one of my other videos, and so when I end my stream, people get sent to a video, but it's not something I use very much. The last thing is monetization, which I actually keep off for my streams. I think ads turn people off. I already get a decent amount of income from just my YouTube videos. I don't want to have loads of ads all over my YouTube streams. And also the monetization you get from YouTube streams, the money you get is pretty low anyway, so I would recommend you keep that off. We can save this now, and that all saves. Then we come down to the stream settings area. What we want to do is select stream key, and you want to create a new stream key. When this opens up, you can just call this something, and what I would recommend you do, because we've set it to 1440p, is that you create one in here called 1440p. Description is optional. I wouldn't set one, you don't need to. RTMP, because that's what we selected when we were back in OBS. And the stream resolution, turn this to manual and set this to 1440p here and turn on 60 FPS. After you've done all that, you can click create. I'm not going to do that because I've already got one, but that means that this is my default stream key and YouTube knows that I'm sending it a 1440p stream. Everything else below it in terms of stream key, stream URL and everything like that, you don't need to touch now because we've got the YouTube integration, which means that when we go back to OBS, we'll be able to select this stream that we've set up and send our stream to it. Stream latency is a very important one to set. Unfortunately, when we do stream at 1440p, we can't get ultra low latency, which is like a 1 to 3 second delay. Ultra low latency is good for, I guess, if you're doing like a chat show or you're doing a Q&A and you want to answer chat really quick. For most of us guys gaming anyway, low latency, which is up to 10 seconds delay, is fine. Someone can send a message within, 10 seconds, just over 10 seconds, you can reply. It's not long to wait for viewers, and viewers typically don't mind it, but I would highly recommend that you go with low latency over normal latency, which can be up to around 30 seconds of delay. And that can get a bit annoying when someone asks a question and it takes 30 seconds to answer it. Finally, let's go through these last settings. We've got additional settings. Enable DVR is just basically allowing viewers to go back through your stream. So if they join and then something happens, they can go 30 seconds back. It's one of the great things about YouTube streams that you can do that. If an awesome thing happens, people can go back, they can clip it. Far better than Twitch. I love that setting. 360 video, not something which most people are going to be using. You can add extra delay, which is useful if you are, I don't know, doing tournaments and you want some stream delay so you don't get stream sniped. Closed captions is if you want to have subtitles and stuff, which I don't use. And the last thing, which I'm going to cover in this fairly long video, is unlist live replay once stream ends. I think that for a lot of people out there who have a YouTube channel where they both upload YouTube content and have streams, you should 100% tick this. What you can do is tick this. When you finish your live stream and it becomes a VOD, it will unlist itself, so it doesn't appear in your upload section. I'll show you an example of this if we go to my YouTube channel very quickly. If we go to my YouTube channel and just pause this here, I did a stream only a couple days ago, and it does not appear in my upload section. It also won't appear on people's subfeed. However, if people want to watch my live streams, they can come down here and there's a 4 Eyes live streams area, which is that playlist I selected earlier. So people can come in here, they can click on here, watch the stream back, and it's just unlisted. All unlisted means is that you need a link to watch it. It's not private, it's not hidden from everyone. You just need the link to be able to watch it. And then everyone can watch it from here, and it works out well. After this has all been done, we can come back into OBS, go to Start Streaming, click Select Existing Event, and there we go. We have the stream we just created. I'm cracked at Warzone. We can click this. It doesn't have an actual thing saying I've selected it, but it's the only one there. And then we can click Go Live with Selected Event. And then, I'm not going to do it yet because it will start streaming. It will then appear here and you will be live. Whew, and there we go, guys. That is a full in-depth guide on streaming on YouTube in 2021. I hope that you've been able to make it through this whole video. I know it was long. I just wanted to get every single bit covered on this so you don't have to